Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So on Zoom, besides us room, we have my mother and my sister. So Karen's outside where it's super bright, so she's keeping the camera off. So it's a perfect day to be outside. And today, as you all know, I always try to figure out a theme to talk about. And since Friday was Earth Day, I couldn't help myself but have an Earth Day theme. So we're going to have a little bit of a different setup today. I wanted to end a little early. If you guys were here the very first thing, I think, when we did a sort of a nature-based thing, so I'm bringing it back. And we are going to go outside, but it'll be different. We're going to do a group walking meditation. So it'll be in the spirit of Thich Nhat Hanh. If you ever saw videos of him doing walking meditations at Plum Village, his monastery in France, there's a huge crowd of people all behind him. They're all just walking together, through the landscape, and it's really cool to see that. So I will do my best Thich Nhat Hanh imitation when we go outside.
We'll do our best crowd.
Yeah. So for those of you on Zoom, unfortunately, you can't join us very well, but I'm going to ask, since you've carved out an hour and we're going to give you a little extra time, if you can, well, Karen, you're already outside. But if you can just go outside for a little bit and just really take in nature and connect with it, even if you take a little walk, but just to do it more intentionally, to really just connect with the natural world out there. So that's what we're going to be doing. And just to introduce the idea of natural spirituality, it's a phrase that was coined by a Catholic monk named Wayne Teasdale when he was studying. He studied a lot of different traditions of spirituality and faith traditions in the world. And the indigenous tribes across the globe all practice what he called natural spirituality. They were outside all the time. They depended on the earth to survive, so they revered it. And they, I think mistakenly, were seen, especially by the early colonists that came over, as pagan, because they were it seemed like they were worshiping, earth-based things. But what I think they didn't understand is how much they saw the divine in everything. So it was really, really worshiping the divine in each living thing is what they were doing. And finally, we understand that now. But back then, it was like they squashed it. It was sad. So that's our theme for the day. And as usual, we'll start with a grounding meditation just to get us all connected and centered here. So if you can get yourselves comfortable in your spot and close your eyes. We'll take 3 conscious deep breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And when you exhale, just release any tensions you might be carrying with you. So we'll start with inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Bring our attention to parts of our body that are connected to the earth, which is our feet and our butts in the seat. Just feel the weight of the earth, the gravity pulling you down. Just feel yourself drop in a little bit more. Feel that weight, resistance. It's the earth supporting us. Bring attention to your feet and your connection to the ground. Just try to sense the energy, aliveness. In the spirit of the earth. It's a living being providing life for everything upon it. Provides clothes we wear, provides the shelter we live in, provides the food, water, the air we breathe, the heat, the fuel. There's nothing that the earth is not providing for us. Just take that in. Take a moment to express gratitude to the earth. Imagine the gratitude just going down through your body, through your feet, sending it right into the earth. Thank you, Mother, for supporting us. I want to read to you a prayer. It's called A Prayer for Our Earth. It was written by Pope Francis. I did make a couple slight modifications, but it's written by him. You can open your eyes or keep them closed as I read this. It's up to you. All-powerful Creator, God, the great mystery, you are present in the whole universe and in the smallest of your creatures. You embrace with your tenderness all that exists. Pour out upon us the power of your love, that we may protect life and beauty. Fill us with peace, that we may live as brothers and sisters, harming no one. O source of unwavering, unconditional love, help us to rescue the abandoned and forgotten of this earth, so precious in your eyes. Bring healing to our lives, that we may protect the world and not prey on it, that we may sow beauty, not pollution and destruction. Touch the hearts of those who look only for gain at the expense of the poor and the earth. Teach us to discover the worth of each thing, to be filled with awe and contemplation, to recognize that we are profoundly united with every creature as we journey towards your infinite light. We thank you for being with us each day. Encourage us, we pray, in our struggle for justice, love, and peace. Amen. So, in keeping with this theme, Dean's going to open us up with a song.
And I'm not going to do my protest song.
There's a lot of
I
good...
came with some great Earth Day protest songs, and Bill said, no, not gonna fly. Not in this peaceful, tranquil place. So we pulled this one at the last minute. Let's see if we can do it. Morning has broken like the first moon. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunset from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet wet garden, sprung from completeness, where his feet pass. Speak the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall off the sweet grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, from incompleteness, where his feet. We need to do that one again. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden so plain. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. God's recreation of the new day.
Yay. That was awesome.
That's a protest song, I think.
I thought you'd appreciate that one. Church song from back in the day. Hopefully every church had that one in their
In the
repertoire.
hymnal, right?
Yeah, in the hymnal. Yeah, so thank you. Just to touch base a little bit on this natural spirituality and how far it dates back. There's no way of knowing exactly, but it's probably something at least 10,000 years or maybe even more. So it predates every form of religion on the planet. And it's a part of every spiritual tradition. And I have a couple of quotes that I thought would be interesting. The first one, I'm not going to tell you who said it first, because I think it'll just be more impactful. It's a short quote, and it says, "Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty." And that was a quote by Albert Einstein, probably the most preeminent scientist of our time. And even the scientists see the importance of being connected to nature. And now I'm going to read something by Thich Nhat Hanh. It seems like he shows up in almost every service these days. And this is, he had a phrase that he called interbeing. It's the term he came up with to describe the connectedness of all things. And this is a poem that he wrote that I think it just gets to the core of the concept of interbeing. So let's take this in. If you are a poet, you'll see clearly that there is a cloud floating in the sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper inter-are. If we look into this sheet of paper even more deeply, we can see the sunshine in it. If the sunshine is not there, the forest cannot grow. In fact, nothing can grow. Even we cannot grow without sunshine. And so we know that the sunshine is also in this sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine inter-are. And if we continue to look, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it to the mill to be transformed into paper. And we see the wheat. We know the logger cannot exist without his daily bread. And therefore, the wheat that became his bread is also in this sheet of paper. And the logger's father and mother are in it too. When we look in this way, we see that without all of these things, the sheet of paper cannot exist. So that's kind of a meditation. You know, you can do that with anything. You can do that with a chair you're sitting on. You can do that with, you know, this drum, anything, you know, that's in your view at any time. If you look deeply into it like that, which is deep, you'll see that everything is connected. So I think that's a wonderful way to describe this idea of interconnectedness and interbeing. Yeah. I want to just, as I usually like to get some people to share, just that poem, if that struck you in any way differently, the way you would look at things, if there's any kind of shift in just your perception of nature and, you know, and everything. Yes.
So when you said you can do it with the chair, I went through the chair and then I went to the, oh God, on stage.
It's okay.
And then I went to the carpet. And so then through the carpet, I found the sheep, and then I found the sheep herder. Then I saw an image of the herder stroking the sheep, and then I found the one who shears the sheep and the one who turns the wool into yarn. And so then what I saw immediately was that, oh, it's all love. That's what they mean when they say it's love. Everything is love.
Wow. Yeah.
Because everything that I saw in that flash was loving. And so loving begets the love. And that's how it's all love. You can't untwine it. You can't separate it. Yeah, separate it. It's there.
Interconnected.
Interwoven.
Interbeing. Yeah.
Through the love.
Yeah, that's really cool to see it that way. How about us? Can we do it with us? That's the different way to see things, right? But
Down to the cellular level, it's like we're made of stardust, right? Like we're all the elements of what we are. We're mostly water. You take the passives through water. You know, and then all the, you know, the nitrates and I don't know, all the words are carbon and all that we are. It's like we're found in the stars and in matter. It's like we really are just all connected and made of the same stuff.
Like it's recycled.
Yeah.
yeah, and we don't exist like in this poem. We don't exist without any, you know, sun, water, air, you know, all those things that we take for granted and destroy. And yet we depend on it for life. So when you think of it that way, and then you look at what's happening to the planet, it's hard to imagine. How did we get there? How did we disconnect ourselves so much from Earth, from nature, and think that we can exist without it? And just, you know, take everything that we want without regard for, you know, something sustainable. So the reason for Earth Day, getting slightly off topic, now I'm going to start protesting.
I got the song.
But, yeah,
We're gonna do a march, Bill.
Yeah.
It's not a meditation.
we're marching in downtown.
He makes it bad.
I've got the banners ready to go. But Earth Day was created, and I don't know when. I think the 70s.
I was in high school, 1970 or 71.
Yeah. So
The very
Earth
first
Day
one.
was created to bring awareness to how important this planet is for our existence. You know, even 50 years ago, it was an issue. And the sad thing is we didn't really pay attention because things just continued to go sideways and
Still
downhill.
not paying attention.
And still not, right? And we probably won't until it's too late.
No.
Don't go there.
Well, I'm just not us. See, you know.
I bring a
obviously-
protest song and it goes all dark on it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's our nature to sort of wait until there's an urgency before we act, right? So when things get so bad that, you know, the global population can't ignore it anymore, they're like, okay, now we need to do something about this. You know, so we're trying to, with Earth Day and all this awareness, we're trying to say, let's not wait, you know.
So when you were reading that, what I heard was the word sunshine many times, more than anything else. And you were saying to me, I was giving some ideas for songs. Well, can't you do some John Denver? Those are like positive nature songs. I'm thinking, sunshine on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, yes, I love it.
But as you were saying sunshine over and over again, I was thinking about how many kids, my kids' ages and younger, don't spend time outside.
Mm,
They spend time inside in their computers. They're distracted by all technology and they're not outside. And I remember as a kid, we were always outside. And the sun, I mean, I know it's a corny metaphor, but the sunshine
Yeah.
gives us hope, gives us energy, gives us joy. And we gotta focus on the sunshine.
yeah, it's vitamin D.
It's a pace thing. It's because modern life has sped up and we've gotten outside of our natural pace. And so what that poem, the first hit that I got with the poem was that it's a slowing down. It's becoming still. So I think in answer to your question, I know it was a rhetorical one, but an answer came, which was that we need to slow down.
Mm.
How did we get here? Because we're going too fast. There's probably a song for that too.
Slow down. Moving too fast.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta make the slow.
We got a new singer here for next Sunday.
We'll start a choir.
Well, I like it. So I agree. So when we're too busy, right, we start to become competitive. Right? Because we're trying to keep up. And because when we become competitive, we start to think there's limited resources.
Wow, yeah.
Because there's limited resources, we probably don't make the best decisions for everybody. It tries to become greedy.
Yeah.
Or, so at the beginning, I think it is, we're too busy.
Mm, that's a good.
And I think that greed is really the reason why we're not making change. You know, it's greed.
And the illusion of disconnection from other people. It's like we get disconnected from nature, from ourselves, and we forget to be connected to others. Because when you're giving, you're not worried about what you need. You know that you're okay.
Mm. Yeah, so that's a spiritual teaching, is that connection to all things, and it's not super, visible. It's not something you can really see. It's something you can only experience. And when we're too busy and we're not enough time in the day to even sit still for a minute, it's hard to experience that connection. So like Dean, like you said, when kids are in front of their screens all the time, there's no opportunity to go outside and not just get the sunshine, but feel the connection. Right. I was with my son the other day, and I was cutting something. There was a stump that was too high, and he wanted me to cut it down so we didn't hit it with his motorcycle. So I cut the stump, and then he's like, "What about that tree over there?" I'm like, it was a small tree, about a few inches in diameter. I'm like, "Well, why?" He's like, "Well, we see the river better," and he didn't really have a very good reason. I'm like, "Well," and this was Friday. I'm like, "It's Earth Day. Let's not just cut a tree down just because we feel like it's in the way." And his response was, "Who cares?" I was like, "Oh."
And there you go.
Yeah.
And there you go.
But he's 14. At 14, if I could get my hands on a chainsaw, I'd probably cut everything down I could get my hands on. So
There's a lot of people who aren't 14 who think the exact.
Exactly. That's the point. I mean, he's 14, so we can give him a little, a little bit of room, but massive corporations that go into the rainforest or wherever and just, clear cut. Yeah, it's all about greed. It's all about, there's oil down there. We have to get rid of, whatever. So, we don't want to go too far that direction.
But it would work if you replaced it, right? Because he's right in a way with the who cares. There is a deeper inquiry in there because it is this system will recycle itself and we'll find equilibrium regardless of what the human consciousness overlay does on nature, right? She has her own journey. We're just fleas on a dog, right?
Mhm.
So, not my words. But maybe the teaching in there with him was the reciprocity, which is, okay, if we're going to take that one away, which is, it sounds like it's probably a teenager. So
Yeah.
the likeness is that, okay, so we'll just then replace it with another one. So the teenager in him was being reflected actually in the teenager of the tree. So it's like, okay, well, we can reflect it back to you, turn it around, see. So do you still want to take down the tree? We could be, but let's replace it with something else. Because you will also be replaced with something else because this is how it is. This is the reality of temporal life.
Yeah, that'd be a great teaching for any kid for sure. Getting it to sink in is the other challenge, but it's so important to just be the example. Anyone else have any? Oh yes, in the back, the peanut gallery. Yeah, that's okay.
I think it's important to remember, acknowledge that there's greed, acknowledge that we need to try to rise above, but there's so much desperation and people are trying to survive. And so to operate with compassion and all of that is super important as we are thinking about Earth Day and just the state of the world. There's people who are just desperate and to survive, and how can we love, like moving so fast, work within that, just people's way of life because they're just trying to get by. I just see it every day. We have so many blessings, and I think reminding ourselves of that in those moments of when we make feel like, oh, I'm just trying to let everybody together today. Not everybody has the space for that. So,
Yeah, thank you.
grateful to be here. Anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if Zoomers, if you were able to hear her. Sorry, I don't have the microphone thing figured out quite yet. So my phone is the mic, and it's far away from a few people. But yeah, scarcity is unfortunately a conditioned, quote unquote, reality that's been going on for at least a couple of 100 years since the modern economic system came into being. There's an economist named Adam Smith, who's a Scottish economist, that basically laid the foundation for what is now modern capitalist, society, and it's all based on the idea of scarcity and the idea of everyone just pursuing their best interest. But that was created in a environment of white privileged men 200 years ago in Europe. You can imagine what that was like, where people were enslaved, and it was fine. It was morally acceptable for certain people to just be, at the bottom rungs of humanity, and they didn't deserve anything better. But today, it's, we know now that everything is connected, and what happens with one group of people affects everybody. But that was, it's so conditioned into our way of being that there's a scarcity And we all have to just go out and get our share of it, and make sure we can support ourselves. And if that means someone else doesn't get it, that's just, sorry. So how do we overcome that scarcity mentality? Because if you look at nature, there's no scarcity in, really. If it's nature that hasn't been influenced by humans too much, it's abundant. Even when there's forest fires and it destroys huge areas, that's all part of nature to help regrow a healthier forest. So there's abundant everything out there in nature, and we're part of that. So we really should connect to that abundance and change our mindset. But that's easier said than done. So anybody else? Because I do want to end a little bit early as promised, and go outside for a little stroll. So does anyone have any other? These comments have been great. It's been a cool discussion.
I would just say with corporate America that I do see movement, and with a number of different companies and people that are becoming more and more mindful of using our ingenuity and our ideas, but also keeping the whole in mind. So I think that there is coming now more and more of a shift that I believe will just continue to grow, since what we have been doing isn't sustainable. So we can flip it on the dime. We can use all the wonderful things of capitalism along with bringing it into a more holistic view. So I'm excited about seeing more and more of that.
Yeah, there's for sure awareness and the advancing of consciousness here and there. That's happening faster and faster. Thank goodness. You have anything, Madeline? Okay, didn't want to. Okay, so we'll have a song and a closing prayer, and then I'll give our instructions for our next part. So.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, and the dark, sacred night. Yet I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky. Also all the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I ever know. Yet I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Yay. That was a good one. Thank you, Dean. I never know what's coming.
This Eastern world, it is exploding.
Maybe there'll be a protest meeting sometime. We'll break them all out. Okay, so for those of us here, we're gonna go do a walking meditation together. And let me explain a little bit more to those who are not here. If you want to go out and do this, the way Thich Nhat Hanh describes walking meditation, it's as if each footstep is kissing the earth. That's how gentle your feet are connecting with the earth as you're walking. And so you're obviously concentrating on each footstep and how it's connecting to the earth, but at the same time, you're taking in, all of your surroundings, using all of your senses. So you're paying attention to any sounds, the wind, the birds, the stream, the traffic, whatever it is. You're just taking in the sounds, you're taking in all the sights. He'll even, if you watch him, he'll stop and he'll touch a plant, so he gets that sensation. So it's so different than our regular meditations where we're sort of shutting down our external senses and just going within. This is kind of the opposite. It's still being mindful, so you're trying not to let your thoughts going 100 miles an hour while you're walking. So by being mindful of everything that's around you, it helps to still the mind from our other distracting thoughts. So seems like we're busy taking in a lot of sensations, but if you're really doing this, you notice you're not really thinking about other stuff. If you are, just notice that you are. Okay, I was just thinking about something else. No big deal. Go back to what's in front of you again. So it's all about being mindful of your situation, your surroundings, your connection to nature, and what's happening around you. And that's good no matter what you're doing. You can do that washing dishes, you can do that doing anything, tying your shoes. So the walking meditation is a deep practice, but it's something that you could be doing all day long and just staying connected and present. It's not easy because we're so busy. We don't have time. So
You don't make time.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to close out with a prayer, and then we'll move on to our next part. Almighty source of our being, we thank you for this opportunity to gather together and bask in the light of your unconditional love. Help us to be a vessel of compassion, understanding, and love, and allow that brilliant light within us to shine all around the world, illuminating the darkness wherever we go. Amen. And I almost usually forget, but if you would feel moved to make a donation to Love is a Home, a nonprofit that operates the barn here and does as many things like this as we can. For those online, we have Venmo and PayPal. Love Has a Home here is our name there. And then for here we have a basket. So, or the Venmo or PayPal anywhere. So, and that's it. So if there are no more last comments or anything, I'm going to bid you all on Zoom farewell. And I'm sorry, we'll keep you in our spirit and our thoughts. And you do the same as you're outside. Hopefully you'll just do a little bit of a walk or just try it out. And we'll see you next time. All right. Bye, everybody.